I'm going to share with you today a technique that covert or vulnerable narcissists use. It's their special crazy-making weapon that they use to abuse their targets. In order for you to understand the weapon, you need to understand a little bit of the structure of the personality that's coming with that weapon. So we say online, on YouTube, on the forums, we say covert, but actually in the literature, it's fragile. Or sometimes it will be described as vulnerable. So this was to express that it was in opposition to the previously defined narcissistic personality disorder, the grandiose narcissist. And they were saying, wait, there is a type of narcissist who's fragile, who's vulnerable, who will show weakness, who's not the alpha male, the alpha female, top of their class. They'll actually be vulnerable, and they'll actually promote feelings of vulnerability. Why is it important for you to understand their fragility in terms of the structure? Well, because if they don't come from this particular structure, the weapon that they use won't work. So when we're talking about fragile or vulnerable narcissists, how would we define them? Briefly. So within 30 seconds, the way that I would define somebody that you would be saying was functioning from a fragile narcissistic personality structure or strategy would be somebody who is cycling. So they're constantly in a cycle of elation and depletion. Unlike the grandiose narcissist who has a ready supply of narcissistic narcissistic supply, so they're on a fairly continuous steady burn of elation, the fragile or vulnerable narcissist is failing all the time to get that supply. He gets it, he loses it. She wins it, she loses it again. So they cycle between elation and depletion. So therefore, they're more moody, generally speaking, than the grandiose narcissist, but also you'll see them cry. You'll see them fragile. You'll see them vulnerable. They will say sorry. They will apologize, but ultimately they're only cycling as they're trying to get back up to a position of power. Because everything that this personality disorder is all about power over others. The power of the grandiose narcissist might be to bully you or to reward you. It would be something that is done in the light, Yang style. You will see it coming. Do as you're told or else you're going to get smacked. Do as you're told and you'll get the good thing that you want. Because they have power. That's a grandiose classic narcissist. The fragile or covert narcissist doesn't have power, so they manipulate, they cajole. This is why I think why covert is such a popular way of talking about them, is because they can't do it in a way that is direct. They have to be indirect. So this lack of power, this fragile structure that they're coming from, means that they have to be intensely manipulative. Which brings us to their favorite crazy-making weapon of choice. So you as the target have to be in the sense in your dyad, in the structure of two people in the folie à deux that you are in, and you are in it, you're leaning into it, otherwise it doesn't work. You will perceive them as fragile. And you'll go, well, they can't be one of those nasty classic narcissists because last week they said sorry and the week before that they started crying and opening up to me and they made themselves vulnerable to me. So therefore it can't be narcissism, it must be something else. That's actually part of the weapon. The first part of the weapon, so it has like a 1-2 punch effect. The first part is to confuse you, which you will be confused because you'll be like, well, who am I dealing with today? Which version of them? If they're related, they're showing up as grandiose. So if they've got their narcissistic supply, they'll be grandiose. They'll be the classic bullying narcissist, and you've seen them do that. But if they're depleted, then they'll be the vulnerable narcissist. They'll be much more sad. They'll show you that they're weak, that they need you, and you will feel confusion. So the first part of this weapon is to make the target feel confused. Who am I dealing with? The grandiose or the vulnerable one? Is it the vicious or the kind one? Which one of these two personas am I going to be dealing with today? Over and over and over again, so you never know where you are. So you're confused, you're upside down, and then the next thing that they'll do, beyond the confusion, which is where the crazy makingness comes from, is they will leverage your pity in them by evoking massive feelings of guilt. These are the ones who give you the sob story. So their weapon comes in a package delivered, but it's only the missile delivery system. It's not the weapon itself. It's not the actual payload of the sob story. The sob story. So you will have a story of them orphaned, abandoned, some terrible tragic background, some operatic level dreadfulness that occurred to them. They're the biggest victim in the room. Don't you feel sorry for them? Well, if you love a person and they've been through pain, you'll feel pity for them. You'll feel sorry for them. That's natural. There's no shame in that. But what they've done is they've turned that good emotion, that standard emotion, and they've used it against the human host. They've gone, there's a weakness here. If I can present with the structure of fragility and I'm cycling through elation and depletion of narcissistic supply, that will confuse the target so they don't know which version of me that they're actually going to get. Then I can give them my sob story, which is the missile delivery system that delivers the payload. The actual main weapon that's going to drive you completely crazy is you feel sorry for them. You feel sorry for them. And you won't leave them. And you won't kick them out. And you won't draw a hard boundary with them because of the sob story and because it makes you feel guilty. These ones, these vulnerable narcissists, these covert narcissists, these do the most damage, in my humble opinion, just because of the amount of confusion they generate in the host. The amount of confusion they generate in the target is so much, it's so high, it's so intense, and you never know from one day to the next which version of them you're dealing with, and you never really know what the truth of them is. There is, I don't believe, any real closure with a fragile narcissist. A part of you, after the relationship, is always going to wonder if they were really that sad, lonely, desperate victim that they presented themselves as. You remember the cat in Shrek? The cat who uses the eyes, I'm so sad, to evoke an emotional response in people. And then when they go, oh, look at the cute kitty, that's when he gets his rapier, his sword out and kills them. So this is how it works. And over time, you will, obviously this is going to be crazy making, because what are you going to do? Well, if you're an essentially good person and you believe that they're a victim and you love them, it's also necessary that you love them or you need something from them, or you're leaning in. You must be leaning in. All of these narcissistically abusive relationships are a dyad. That means there's two people. There's two. So they're leaning into you, you're leaning into them. We know that this is true because I'll say to people, you need to go no contact. And they go, yeah, I'll go no contact. I'll go no contact. Yeah, totes. I watched your video, mate. It was good. Watched your video, mate. It was a good video, mate, about going no contact. I'm totally going to go no contact. And you go, great. And then they'll message me a week later or a month later and they'll go, you'll never guess what he said to me now. And I'm like, how do you know what he said to you now? Well, I spoke to him. You're no contact, aren't you? Oh, no. Well, I couldn't. The thing is, my 6-year-old cousin, she went on my Instagram, right? See, yeah, I did block him. And I'm like, dude, get the fuck out of here. Come on now. No contact means no contact. So it's a dyad. You're leaning into them. I'm not trying to shame you about it, but if we all want to move on with our lives, we've got to be big boys and big girls, put on our big boy pants, put on our big girl pants, and say, look, this is what I'm doing. I'm acting like a crazy person. I'm acting in a way that's completely irrational. I'm still contacting this person. Okay, so what do they make you do in Alcoholics Anonymous and in any drug recovery? You have to stand up and go, hi, I'm Richard and I'm addicted to continuing to make contact with my ex-girlfriend because I can't make the distinction because of the crazy making communication that went on for months and years of who she is. And the thought that I've abandoned somebody who's vulnerable and is now suffering in my abandoning of her is delivering massive loads of pity to her internally, which then manifests as guilt for me to carry. Because sometimes what drives us back is guilt. We feel guilty. Oh, I'll unblock him on WhatsApp. I'll just on WhatsApp. I don't really use WhatsApp. I'll just in case of an emergency. He might have an emergency. Yeah, that's an adult, okay? If he has an emergency, he can call the police. He doesn't need you for emergencies. You're not his mum, okay? Block him and move on with your life. So this is the crazy making weapon that they use. They're leveraging your good nature against you. Over time, it's exhausting. I think covert, fragile, vulnerable narcissists are much more damaging in the long run because the target never really knows. People who stay obsessed for years, trying to diagnose their ex, I think most of you, myself included, have been dealing with what would be classed clinically as a fragile or vulnerable narcissist. And that's why you're driven crazy by the cognitive dissonance of, yeah, but no, but yeah, but no, but yeah, but no, but yeah, but no, but yeah, but no. And your brain's just giving you like the two different versions of the person. And what you have to do is collapse those two different versions together and say that's one person and they're an adult. The things that they did when they were mean, that's who that person is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and for your attention. There is another video for you that I'd like you to watch right now in this series. I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Cheers. Because you're trapped in this weird, perverting, corrupting hall of mirrors, and you'll end up with the feeling that there is something wrong with you.